I just spent the last 6 days of my life disassembling the 6.0 Powerstroke, finding all of the rust problem areas, grinding out all of this rust, priming all of these panels, doing a ungodly amount of bodywork, and doing a whole bunch of paint work for the second time in my life. And these panels, I have to say, have turned out way better than I thought they were going to. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to my restoration series of my 2005 F350 6.0 Powerstroke. Previous videos, we got this whole thing completely torn down, and we got the bumpers and door that was completely rusted out in primer, body filler, and now we're working on getting all these panels straight. So as you can see on these panels here, I went ahead and I already did a bunch of sanding to make these panels straight. As you can see, there was massive rust here. It is now completely straight and perfect and primed out. All of this extra body filler that you see here, this is just the glaze, so it is a thinner version of the body filler, and this is for all the rock chips and all the stuff that didn't get fully filled in with the original body filler that we used. So what I use is the U-Pole. This is the UP0922. This is their glaze. This is for after using real body filler. This is just to fill in the small imperfections. What I use is the UP0921. This is their body filler from U-Pole, and that is what I use on majority of the massive dent stings, rust pitting, any of that stuff. So that's enough talking. Let's get into doing a bunch of sanding on this. I'm starting out with 80 grit to get the shape, and then I'm finishing out my body filler at 180 grit just so that the primer has a lot less sand scratches to fill in. My main goal for this video right now is to have all of these panels in color and clear coat. I want to be able to paint tomorrow morning. So that means a little bit of disassembly on the mirror to make sure that we don't paint that. Rest of the body filler, primer, and then it's on to base clear. My main goal is to have these parts in clear and in the heat before the end of this video. So with that being said, let's get some freaking sanding, dude. I don't want to, but we're gonna do it. We did it. We have all of these parts as straight as possible here. So as you can see, the lighter yellow is the glaze, and then the dark, well, the more white is the actual filler. So now everything is glazed and filled and as straight as possible. So when we go ahead and put primer back on all these spots, it'll hopefully look factory and not crap. But here is the door that was just so destroyed. Now it is fully straight, not a bump anywhere. All of this is sanded out perfectly. Everything looks great, and I'm happy with it. So now we need to prime, and this epoxy primer can sit overnight. I don't think I'm gonna have enough time to get to color right this minute. I will get to color in this video though, most likely tomorrow. But once this primer is sprayed, up to 3 days is how long it can sit before it needs to be scuffed. But anywhere between that 1 and 3 days, you can spray color on top. So we need to go ahead and get these parts in primer so that we can spray tomorrow so that everything is fully dry, cured, and ready to go for base and clear. That is the main purpose for this entire build. I need this thing perfect and mint, and if it's not, I'm gonna cry. Probably won't cry, but I will be upset. However, we are in the stormy season of Florida, and this thing's been sitting outside. I think we're good on the moisture, but I want to get this door on, and I want to get these bumpers on. More importantly, the door on. The bumpers can stay off because we do have a lot of this stuff down here that we need to powder coat, Cerakote, and do all that meticulous cool stuff. But my Cerakote hasn't come in yet, so we are still waiting to be able to finish these bumpers, but I want to finish at least the door and get that in color base clear. So let's go ahead, start the disassembly of the mirror, and then we can go lay down primer. All right, everything is cleaned up, good to go. We are ready for primer, base clear. Let's get after it. I want to show you a little trick first. I learned this along the way of doing body work and like learning the craft of body work. So if you take a rag or spritz it onto the panel or whatever, but if you take a rag full of wax and grease remover and you go to your panel that is fully scuffed, right? So that's scuffed up, and you take your wax and grease remover and you wipe it on, your wax and grease remover will act like a clear coat. So that's what it's gonna look like after it's cleared. So this panel doesn't need any base. Well, the panel needs base, but like the top portion of it is just gonna get re-cleared. So we have to blend from, here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna blend from like right here, that way, so that all of this is OEM, and like all of this is OEM. So it'll be like from here down, I'm blending onto this panel. All of this is staying original base color. So hopefully it will trick the eye of the beholder into noticing that it's not been resprayed. At least that's what I'm hoping for. I don't know if that's gonna work that way or not, but just stoning two birds at once with this and just making sure that everything is good to go on this front. Let's go ahead and knock this out of the park. We have to blow up our booth. I honestly don't know if I'm gonna use my booth or not. Let's see, I'm gonna blow my booth up, see if all these parts will fit. I know they will, but make sure that they'll fit and just go about it. I just want you guys to know that if you have friends, but none of them ever want to help you with any of your situations, they're not really your friends, number one. And number two, you learn how to, do things yourself, no matter how sketchy they are. I'm actually pretty proud of this one, so let me know what you think. All right, the most annoying part is over, getting them in the booth situated to where everything fits. So now let's go ahead. We need to mask off this door, just the window area. Be good to go. Then it is on to color. All right, so sitting over here in this cup, we have our epoxy primer that is doing its induction time. And I'm mixing up our base just so that we are good to go, because the base pot life is indefinite. It can sit reduced for however long. It doesn't matter. So our epoxy primer has a pot life and our clear has a pot life. So I'm mixing this up so it'll be easier to just change guns and go, and then all we have to do is mix up clear. But there's our color that should match very well. I'm looking at the truck right now and it looks phenomenal. So we are good here. So this mix is 1-to-1. So I'm gonna do 10 ounces of color, to 10 ounces of medium reducer, and that will give us our color needed. And there we have 20 ounces of base. Let's go ahead and mix this up. I'm gonna do 2, most likely 3 coats of base. Most likely. We'll see how the second coat looks. We're definitely gonna do a lighter first coat. I just don't want these pearls and the metallics to lay out weird. That looks great. This is such a nice color when it's done right. Very pretty. All right, this is mixed up, good to go. Let's throw a cap on this, and we're about ready to spray primer. Well, we were painting. I wasn't going to show you this. I was getting the primer on, and then I was just going to cut straight to base and clear. However, my booth went down in the middle of painting. Not because of anything wrong with the fans or the generator that I'm using. My booth went down because I had both fans on the same circuit like an idiot, and I got halfway through one panel and the breaker blew, which is not that big of a deal. I can redo that panel. But when I got the breaker back up and running and I got the generator out here so that wouldn't happen again, we had a crazy rainstorm, and all of my panels on the inside that were in primer are now covered in water. So, I feel defeated. Next thing to do is wait for a dry spell, wait for these parts to dry, and try and knock it out. I don't want to paint if rain is going to come, because rain was pouring through the actual fibers of the booth itself. So I was not safe from the water no matter what. This is a wake-up call, my friends. I need a shop. Bad. I'm biting off more than I can chew with the tools that I have, so I am not going to paint in my garage because my air handler is in there for my house, and I don't want my house to smell like paint and clear. So, we'll figure this out. I'm going to take a break, and I'm going to pick up the camera when I figure out what the hell I'm going to do. Alright boys, I'm currently running into the same issue that I had with the Subaru, and that is I'm running out of daylight. I didn't have rain last time, but we got to get to work. We've got 10 minutes in between each coat of base for it to flash off, and then we're on to clear. All right, after a long night, it is currently 9:56 at night. I started this project after 6 days of prep at about 2 o'clock in the afternoon. So 8 hours worth of painting, and one rainstorm later, we are done. Let's hop into the booth. Let's take a quick look. It's dark, so I will show you a better, more full look when we take these parts out of the booth in the morning. But for now, it's gonna be a little noisy. The generator's running, about to switch that over. So let's go take a peek. Everything looks great. You can see the door glistening in the distance. Phenomenal. Spectacular. Give me 14 of them right now. Oh, look, a frog. How cool. All right, I'm calling it a night right now. Let's go get these parts out of the booth here in just a few hours. All right, it is the next evening. These parts I pulled out of the booth last night. They are probably about 20 hours after spraying. And I have to say, they came out absolutely phenomenal. I don't know what changed. Maybe I changed and got better, but the spray is so much more even. There's a little bit of orange peel, but honestly, it's kind of to be expected spraying an inflatable booth with Harbor Freight guns. I don't have the nicest of equipment, but I have equipment that works, so you can see a little bit of orange peel. That's not too bad. That can get hit with a quick 1500, 2000, 3000 and we'd be good to go. I'm not looking for this to be absolutely perfect as of yet. The truck is not perfect, so if these are not fully polished and manicured, I'm not that worried about it. As you can see, the bumpers are great. Still the same little bit of orange peel. All of the bodywork that we did looks really good. This was like the worst part of the rear bumper. And yes, it's not perfect, but I'm not gonna strip it down and redo it. I got it as close as I possibly could, and it looks really, really good. As the saying goes, the blind man would love to see it. So I am perfectly okay with how this turned out. I mean, just look at it. It looks really, really good. So, that being said, major progress was accomplished in this video, and I am so thrilled with the final product. I'm also very thrilled with my experience, how it grew from the last paint job, which was that entire car. If I were to spray panels before spraying that entire car, that car would turn out way better. That's the first time, that Subaru is the first time that I ever laid color on a scale that big. So I am pleased with the outcome of this truck. So now it is on to reassembly. That is going to come in next video. I have so much more work to do. We have so many parts to clean up, Cerakote, powder coat. So my goal next video is to have assembly of all of these. I think next video, most likely we're going to get the door back on the truck, just to get the truck out of where it sits, which is right behind this door. Nobody can park in here or move around at all. So need to get the door back on the truck, get it aligned, and get that pushed over to its parking spot. So that way we can go ahead and finish up Cerakoting and powder coating all of the bumper support brackets and everything that needs to go on these bumpers before they go onto the car itself. So with that being said, I'm going to wrap it up right here. I appreciate all of you guys watching. Leo appreciates all of you guys watching as well. Thank you guys for tuning in, and I'll catch you in the next one. Goodbye.